Well, hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Let's Play series. So we are starting from the top of the tower and with rockets in our hand, and that is actually going to be the main focus of today's episode. Because now that we are living outside, we are flying everywhere. It actually takes 2 rockets to get back in the cave, and one rocket to get back in the cave, 2 rockets to get back. So we're going to need to make the farms to get all of the rockets, and we're going to make in a sugarcane farm and a mob farm. And for that, I found the perfect place, which is this area over here. It is not far from the cave or the new base, if you can see it, and it has water right underneath it, so we're not going to have all of the mob proofing that we would have, because we can just get really high in the sky and avoid all of those mob spawns. So we're going to start with the sugarcane farm at the bottom, and then we'll make the one at the top. I am actually going to use this chance as well to talk a little bit about my thoughts on on Minecraft Live and the new possible update. I don't know if this is going to be released before or after that, but let's get into it. And with this time lapse, don't worry, I will do like with the moss farm and make a tutorial out of this, because it's an easy way of making content. And during the time lapse, we'll talk about Minecraft Live. I am actually having really high expectations for it. I think actually after the last couple updates and the comments from the community, they might have learned not to overpromise. And regarding the content of the update, we have heard a ton of stuff, from the inventory update to the end update to the combat update that has been in the works for what it seems like an eternity. So let's start with the inventory update. And this is going to be a sort of controversial take. I don't think we need one. It is true that sometimes it's a pain to manage the inventory. I have actually had to cut from the time lapse the many times that I had to go to the cave for resources that didn't fit in the shulkers. But I think having the expansion of the inventory as an endgame bit is a good idea. Maybe just with a bundle this might be sorted for an early game solution, but I don't think we need a full revamp of the inventory. On the other hand, I'm not a PvPer or a person interested in the challenge in Minecraft. I'd rather just chill and build. But I think if we want the game to be more of an action game, we are definitely going to need some improvements to the mobs and the fighting, so a combat update kind of makes sense. And finally, updating biomes. I think that's sort of the most logical step, as we had a revamp of the mountains and plains and underground with caves and cliffs. We got the nether improved in 1.16, so it makes sense to improve some of the biomes that might have been forgotten. And you can't see the air quotes, but they're definitely there. Out of these, maybe the savannah and the desert might need some more features. In addition to, the regular old forests, maybe taller trees would give it more of a forest feeling than they have right now. And finally, the one that I think would cover it all, which would be the end part 2. As we said in the dragon fighting and end busting episode, it makes sense for it to be empty, but we could have a little bit more. With this, we could actually have more mobs in the end, more blocks, and still the occasional heart attack from falling in the void. And there's another one that I remember after this, using the massive portal in the deep dark to get another dimension. This one would be wild. I think it might be too big with the last changes we got, and maybe would be falling in the same problem with caves and cliffs, the overpromising and delaying and all that. So I don't think we are going to have it, but it would be completely awesome. Those are actually my thoughts on the updates that we might get on Minecraft Live. This will probably be released a little bit before the actual event, but hey, just tell me what you think about them, and even with the power of knowing what actually happened, it still makes for a really nice discussion. And we are back on top of the tower to, check that over there. It looks impressive. It's actually a weird mixture between a farm that, designed by El Mango, but, made much easier for someone with, my brain capacity, so to speak. But yeah, the way that this thing works, let me just hop here. Yep. So this has 2 sets of flying machines that go, yeah, this is going to take a while, because I can jump from here. Yep. So the way that this thing works is once per day. Yep. Once per day, these flying machines are going to leave, and actually I think that I do have a way of sending these already, so let's see them go. So these flying machines that do have those mine carts on top of rails, they're going to be able to break the sugarcane and collect it directly, and then we needed a way of, getting the mine carts back. So we made those water elevators over there. And we have systems to send these flying machines back. And this is going to be practice for MCC. But yeah. So flying machines get back. The mine carts get back as well. As they are going to end up going faster, they're going to have to wait for a bit until the flying machines get back. And once the flying machines are back, let's wait for it. There it is. The minecarts drop back in place, and it's one of the most satisfying things to watch from this farm. And the good thing is that these copper minecarts are going to drop everything super fast, and then it's going to take a while for all the sugarcane to get here. And we can see, we might be able to see how much sugarcane we're going to be making, because it's going to be much more than we actually need. But the whole point of this, was to make rockets, and we are running very low on them. So we're going to put the second part of all of this, which is actually going to be on top of this. It's going to be it's going to be our general mob farm that we're going to hook up with a bigger collection system down this end. And with that, we will be able to get all of the gunpowder and all of the sugarcane that we would need for making rockets and everything in between. So let's jump into another weird time lapse and try to get it done. And we're going to use the second time lapse. This one is actually taken directly from Shulkercraft. I'll leave the link to both references in the description. But let's talk about the mob vote. I am not going to jinx it by saying which one I think it's going to win, but I'm going to give my thoughts on them individually. And we're going to start with the sniffer. I love that thing. It's a pig/dinosaur with different sizes coming from an egg. The fact that it sniffs seeds and comes with a new plant, and the potential of it actually planting flowers or trees. I think it's a great one. The other thing that might be hinted in there is the different sizes, and it feels like there's one that is like a little baby cow and another one that is as big as an Elder Guardian. So maybe having sort of an in-between stage and actually using that for other mobs maybe actually adds more to them than we already have. The second one is the Tough Golem, and it's a nice touch, sort of like the Copper Golem last year, but I am not 100% sure about how functional is it going to be, like what am I going to use it for. With the Copper Golem pressing random buttons, and it was adorable, in this case it's going to roam around the place picking up stuff and being adorable, and that's pretty much it. So it is a nice addition. I wouldn't complain about it if we had it, but I am not sure if I would use it that much. Maybe it's just me lacking ideas for it, but that's just my thought. And finally, the Rascal. And it's a weird feeling with this one because it's something completely different from what we already have. It's sort of a mini game inside the mines, which would be super fun. And it has really nice potential playing with friends and using it in your own mini games. But as far as we've seen it in the trailer, I'm not sure about the rewards. Talking about more of a single player thing. Because we saw it given an enchanted pick like the ones that you leave in the chest in the end. So it has a nice potential, but I am not sure about it. So my thoughts, in case you haven't seen the short that I posted, the sniffer is going to be the one that I vote for, but you never know, because we still have the glow squid instead of the Iceologer, so you never know. And it turns out that I wasn't recording the audio while I was showing the mob farm complete. The problem is, in the end, that mob farm usually has a massive ceiling on top of it, and we haven't done that yet. We have everything ready, but I don't want to, I didn't want to turn it on just in case mobs started spawning, because I want to think about the decoration of all of it, because it's going to be sort of having the bit at the top and having it connected to the sugarcane farm at the bottom. So mobs should spawn in there. And what do I do now? give it a closer look. Yeah, the other thing that I was going to do was to check actually how much sugarcane we were making, because while I was building all of that, the sugarcane farm was working and we got a ton of it. We got all of that in addition to, if you remember the first, well, when we showed it before we started building the bulk farm, we only had half of the sugarcane farm working. So it does work like a charm. Now it's going to be a matter of finishing it and getting the decoration done. Alright, so I know that the description of I'm going to connect to the bit at the top and the bit at the bottom, it is a little bit abstract, but the fact that we are over here at the top, it kind of means that we are done. Actually, we have a very, very nice view of the house that we started building, and this is working like a charm. So let's give a look to what we have done, and let's try landing over there. And trying to land without spoiling the whole thing. Well, that is the whole thing. And yeah, it was inspired by those Moai statues, you know, the ones in the ones that are Maori and, in Oceania. And yeah, I'm very happy with how it looks. There's only a couple slight problems. The first of them is the fact that it is slightly off center, which is going to bother me in the long run, or we can say that it's sort of shrugging. The other thing that, it is more of a problem for creative reasons than anything else, but we need to give this a face. And the problem is that I made the chin way too big, and it looks like Giga Chad, and I cannot take it out of my head. So having this problem, I'm going to actually ask you guys to, just give me some ideas on what would you think would fit that beautiful head that we have in the background. And let's give it a look from the inside. And you're going to see that we went for functional, because it's still, it looks sort of the same. We need to triple, quadruple check that this is mob proof, because I think it is, but better sure than sorry. And we are already collecting a ton of stuff, a ton of garbage that actually I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. And we are collecting so much sugarcane that we're actually turning some of it into bone meal and then into glow lichen that we actually use to mob proof Chad over here. So very happy with how all of this looks. It's working beautifully, and now actually we don't have problems with rockets at all. So we're going to be able to explore, we're going to be able to find a ton of new places, and we're going to be able to build some more, which is kind of the point of all of this. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about, those takes on the Minecraft Live? I know that you'll probably see it after Minecraft Live actually happens, but any type of comments are good for discussion, even after the fact. And I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you think as well about about Chad's face to come, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya!